Hello and welcome to episode number 11 of AEW Rise to the Top, where we are taking over as Tony Khan and trying to get to be the biggest wrestling company in the world. And we are back today, once again, with Dark and Dynamite, well in the lead up to All Out. Only 3 more episodes left before All Out, and then we have quite a long wait after that until Revolution. Yeah, is it Revolution next? I can't remember. Full Gear will be next. We've got quite a long wait between that, but all is good. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into this episode of AEW Dark. And first up tonight, we have Chris Statlander taking on Penelope Ford in one-on-one action. And it is Chris Statlander who manages to defeat Ford in just under 6 minutes. By pinfall with the Big Bang Theory. This segment only got a 20. Statlander had a 32. Ford had a 26. They don't seem particularly thrilled with seeing Penelope Ford. The crowd were turned off by having a match. This match was a terrible way to start the show, sorry. My idea is to just use Dark. Not really care about the ratings and use it for the people who are getting like the crowd aren't thrilled to see this people. Try and get them a bit more popularity. And things like that, so that like now we don't have that with Britt Baker, and we don't have it with Chris Statlander. So people like Penelope Ford or the Bunny, or I'm trying to think who else there is, like Brandon Cutler and things like that. If I just use them on Dark, hopefully it'll boost their popularity a little bit. Anyway, let's move on to the next matchup, and it is Mr. Brody Lee taking on Marco Stunt. Mr. Brody Lee, leader of the Dark Order, the Exalted One, back to winning ways here. Defeating Marco Stunt in 11 minutes 13 with a pile driver. Marco Stunt is getting better at his gimmick, which is good. Brody Lee got a 62, Marco Stunt got a 57, and this overall got a 58. Cathy Kelly is interviewing Mr. Brody Lee backstage. Wow, Mr. Brody, that was an impressive performance out there tonight, but the same can't really be said for Alex Reynolds and John Silver. What do you plan to do about that going forward? Cathy, the Dark Order is a place where losers come to become winners. That's the vision I had for it. However, recently the members have been disappointing. There will be punishment for the lack of discipline they have shown, and there will be consequences. So Mr. Brody Lee making his intentions known there. Cathy Kelly debuted her interviewer gimmick. We got Cathy Kelly in, hooray! And it is the Dark Order, Alex Reynolds and John Silver taking on the Broken Bad Boys, Joey Janela and Matt Hardy. And in a bout that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but terrible wrestling. The Broken Bad Boys defeated Alex Reynolds and John Silver in 6:47 when Janela pinned Reynolds with a moonsault foot stomp. So Silver had a 33, Reynolds had a 31, Hardy had a 50, and Janela had a 49, and I got a 42 rating overall. Just again, we haven't seen the Broken Bad Boys since their loss the night after Fyter Fest in their championship match. So they're just getting back to winning ways here on Dark by defeating 2 of the lower members of the Dark Order. Got a rating of poor. The Dark Order Grows storyline has advanced with this segment. Cathy Kelly was underwhelming. Mr. Brody Lee looked good. They both liked not having a script, and the segment deserved better announcing. They got 44. So now let's move on to the next segment. And next up, we have Maria Manic taking on Sadie Gibbs, and it is Maria Manic who defeats Sadie Gibbs in just over 6 minutes with an Alabama Slam, keeping up her winning start to her time in AEW. Maria Manic had an in-ring performance of 39, Sadie Gibbs had a 21. The crowd didn't seem thrilled seeing Maria Manic, but that's because she's not very popular, but her winning these matches will boost that up, so that gives her, that segment gets a 32 rating. And let's see what Maria Manic has to say after her victory. Manic grabs a microphone and stares down the camera. I want a challenge. I've seen you, Chris Statlander. You and me, all out. So there we go. We have another match booked in for All Out. Maria Manic taking on Chris Statlander. The only other match confirmed so far is Dr. Britt Baker taking on Hikaru Shida for the Women's Championship. So Maria Manic struggled going off script, that's fine. I'll remember that going forward. And the segment rating got a 29. So now let's move on to our main event of the evening. It is Austin Gunn taking on Are you ready for this? Austin Gunn taking on the one-night signing, Chavo Guerrero. That's right. Let's see how that got on. And in a bout that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling, Austin Gunn defeated Chavo Guerrero Jr. in 10 minutes 26 with a Cobra Clutch slam. Austin Gunn had a 47 rating, Chavo Guerrero had a 42. This only got a 37. So what penalised it? Austin Gunn was penalised for holding back and penalised for being inexperienced. Chavo Guerrero was holding back. Oh, it's been done to a dead crowd. Yeah, look, this wasn't the best. Full disclosure, I set the card up in the order that I wanted all the matches to go. But what I normally do is I get them in the order and then I go through and pick like which match is going to like lift the crowd and stuff. And I forgot to change the match types, so all the match types were regular, which doesn't help out. This is a terrible main event, 37. Let's move on to the final screen and see how we got on. A 44 isn't too bad. That's pretty average for our Dark scores recently. But now it's time for what you're all here for. You're all bloody here for Dynamite, aren't you? Let's go straight on to AEW Dynamite and see what happens in this episode. I'll see you in a minute. And here we are at the start of Dynamite with our commentary team running down this evening's matches. So we have JR starting us off. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for inviting us into your homes. And we have one hell of a show for you tonight. Isn't that right, Excalibur? You're right, JR. We've got Cody and the Young Bucks taking on the Dark Order in the first round of the 3-man Tag Team Championship Tournament. And of course, our huge main event where MJF is taking on Jon Moxley. Tony. And you can't forget about Tenille Dashwood being in action against Big Swole. JR, that all sounds great, and we're kicking off tonight with the Tag Team Champions Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page taking on Private Party. So I got a 57 rating. Everyone enjoyed it, got the crowd hot. Jim Ross came off well. Looks like it's going to be a good start. So now let's move on to that tag team matchup. And in a match that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Page and Omega defeated Private Party in 17 minutes 35 when Kenny Omega pinned Mark Quinn with a one-winged angel. Again, Kenny Omega carried the match in terms of in-ring performance. This got a 78, which is a great start. Page got a 67, Omega got an 86, Quinn got a 61, and Cassidy got a 62. And the F the Rest storyline has advanced with this segment and gained heat. Lifting the crowd didn't really achieve much as they were already pretty hot. A bit annoying because I've done that for the next match as well. But that's alright. So a really nice opening to the show, 78 rating. Kicking us off with a bang. And now we go to Chris Jericho, who is again sitting by his pool in his garden. Last week, the Inner Circle had a culling. People had gone sloppy and lazy. I wasn't there in person, but I'd laid things out for Sky. Next week, we have another match in the 3-man tag tournament against Jurassic Express, and this time, we won't be losing. So the first champ storyline advanced. It's got a 70, another just Chris Jericho promo. You know, lots of people wondering, was there dissension in the Inner Circle? Was Jericho behind the attack on Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager? And this is him just confirming that he knew all about it, he planned for it, and that he wanted it to happen. Now let's move on to the next segment. And it is Big Swole taking on Tenille Dashwood. And it is Tenille Dashwood who picked up the win in just under 9 minutes by submission. This got a 41 rating. Maybe I should have put this one first, but oh well. Big Swole had a 31. Dashwood had a 45, which is nice. Pretty vocal crowd. Didn't seem particularly thrilled with seeing Tenille Dashwood, but they'll get used to it. They have pretty good chemistry, which is beautiful. And again, I lifted the crowd again, but they were already hot, so it didn't really make much difference, which is a bit annoying, but that's okay. These things happen. Let's move on to the next segment. And the TNT champion Shawn Spears comes to the ring with the rest of the 4 horsemen. Tully, we told you we were here to bring the apocalypse, but did you listen? We have already gained 1 championship, and we are not stopping until we have them all. Shawn, you see, you look at other teams, the Dark Order, the Elite, and what do you see? A group of individuals fighting to become the top dog. When you look at us, you see a team. You see a collection of brothers who are willing to do anything for us all to succeed. MJF. That's right, Shawn. That's why we are proud to announce that our very own FTR will be challenging for the Tag Team Championships at All Out. So Kenny, Adam, you're about to find out what happens when you come up against a proper team. So get ready to kiss those titles goodbye, boys, because we're better than you, and you know it. So MJF really going all in with the Four Horsemen. It's got a 53 rating. The F the Rest storyline advanced but lost heat, and the Four Horsemen storyline advanced. Tully Blanchard did a masterful job, and the announcing quality was great. Now let's move on to the next segment. Cody's music hits. Wow, you guys sure love to talk. In fact, it seems like that's all you do. Now, you all know who my dad is. You all know how much I like to talk. But after what you said last week, Shawn, I feel more in the mood for a fight. So this may not be the most popular move, but hey, what's the point of being an executive if you can't help yourself out a little bit? So Shawn, I pulled a few strings and got a match confirmed. Next week, Cody v Spears 3. One last time. Championship on the line. Be ready. So there we have it. Cody admitting to pulling the strings, using his executive powers to give himself a title match. Cody v Spears 3. The mini-series they've got going on is one apiece at the moment. This segment got a 78. Cody's just got great promos. The F the Rest storyline advanced, Four Horsemen advanced, and the TNT Championship advanced. And Cody benefited from having a groundswell of public support. So that is another match all in the books for next week. It is going to be Shawn Spears versus Cody for the TNT Championship. And next up, we go backstage where Cathy Kelly, making her Dynamite debut, is interviewing Big Swole. Swole, you haven't had much luck recently. Have you got any thoughts about how you're going to change your fortunes? Before Big Swole can reply, Mr. Brody Lee enters, pats Swole on the back, and hands her an envelope, then leaves. Swole just looks at the envelope and then exits. So the Dark Order Grows storyline has advanced with this segment. Cathy Kelly worked the crowd well, and Mr. Brody Lee did a masterful job of handing someone an envelope. So that segment got 43, which is pretty nice for a little backstage promo. Cathy Kelly going to be our main interviewer from now on, because she's great, isn't she? Now let's move on to the next segment. And it is Darby Allin taking on the legend Chavo Guerrero Jr., and he dispatches of Chavo Guerrero in just over 8.5 minutes with a coffin drop. Darby Allin had an in-ring performance of 57 and Chavo Guerrero had a 41. The announcing quality lifted the match, colour commentary gave the match a boost, and Darby Allin benefited from having a hot new move, and that rating was a 56. So pretty nice little match, Darby Allin, undefeated in a couple months now, looking, he called out Jon Moxley a few weeks ago in the first episode after Fyter Fest, looking to keep his momentum going. And now he's grabbing a microphone. Let's see what he has to say. I beat MJF at Fyter Fest. I am undefeated in almost 2 months. I deserve to fight you, Mox, but instead you want to fight Max? You're scared of me, Mox. Make this right. That segment got a 55. Please ignore the horrible spelling in that. The Future is Here storyline has automatically advanced. Darby Allin didn't like not having a script to follow. I need to remember that. I should write these down when they come up or something, so I remember, but I didn't. So once again, Darby Allin calling out Moxley, who, he managed, he beat MJF at Fyter Fest, but MJF is getting a shot at the champion first. Darby Allin not happy about this. So let's move on to the next segment. And it is Cathy Kelly interviewing Tenille Dashwood backstage. Tenille, you have been incredible since your debut. What's next for you? Well, I feel honoured to be part of AEW, and of course I would love to hold the championship. Before I signed, I had lots of people say that this division needed work, that we were the weak point of AEW. So Cathy, my main goal is to change that view, to prove to people that we have the best wrestlers in the world here in... And before she can finish her sentence, Tenille Dashwood is taken out from behind by cheerleader Melissa and thrown into a wall. I told you I'd be saying hello, bitch. So cheerleader Melissa coming good on her promise of getting Tenille Dashwood back after she attacked her after the championship match at Fyter Fest. This segment got a 32, which is our lowest rating segment by far. The Girl Next Door versus the Cheerleader storyline advanced. Commentary gave it a boost. Lack of anything interesting happened, and it cooled the crowd a little bit, which is okay. Let's move on to the next segment, and it is the Elite taking on the Dark Order. The Elite made up of Cody, Matt, and Nick Jackson, and the Dark Order made up of Mr. Brody Lee, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson. In a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, it is the Elite who pick up the victory and move forward in the 6-man tag team championship tournament. This segment got an 81, which is massive. Amazing. So good. So Nick had a 83, Matt had an 84, Cody had a 70, Brody Lee had a 70, Stu Grayson had a 57, and Evil Uno had a 48. The first champ storyline advanced, the Dark Order Gross storyline advanced, Jim Ross and Excalibur worked well, Cody had a new move, Matt Jackson had a new move. All of the Elite had a groundswell of public support. This was just what a match. What does it say? What got this down? What? Oh God, there's a lot of stuff on here. Anything was penalised. Nick. Okay, so Cody, Nick, and Matt were penalised for inconsistency, but that was it. Oh, that is amazing. So now let's move on to the next segment, and it is SCU who hit the ring. Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian. Christopher Daniel. Scorpio Sky, you are our brother. We've been racking our brains for weeks now trying to figure out if we did anything to lead you astray. Please, Sky, just come out here and talk to us. We just want to talk this out. Scorpio Sky's music hits. No one comes out. Kaz, fine man, you don't want to talk to us? Well, we're done talking. They drop the microphones and head to the back. The SCU Never storyline has advanced with this segment. It's got a 64, nice little promo here. Just obviously after Scorpio Sky's turn on SCU to align with the Inner Circle at Fyter Fest. SCU still looking for answers. Scorpio Sky still hasn't given any explanation as to why he turned his back on his Southern Californian brothers. But now, it is time for the huge main event of the evening, where MJF is taking on the AEW World Champion, Jon Moxley. And in a bout that had great heat and good wrestling, is MJF who defeats the World Champion Jon Moxley in 23 minutes 25 after rolling him up following a distraction from Tully Blanchard. This got a 75. Huge win for MJF. Cannot overstate how massive of a win that is, pinning the world champion. His first loss, maybe in AEW completely, definitely in this series. Maybe his first loss in AEW, I can't remember. I feel like he might have lost like once. No, I think he drew with Pac, didn't he? But I don't think he's ever actually lost. Jon Moxley had a performance of 81, which is so good. And MJF had a 54. The Future is Here storyline advanced with this segment. And again, announcing's good. Jon Moxley has a groundswell of public support. A bit disappointed by MJF's rating. I don't know what he got. Holding back and low morale. Come on, how'd you pin the champion? Be happy again. Anyway, that's the main event done. 75 is so good. Those last two matches were just bloody chef's kiss. Let's finish the show and see how we got on overall. Get in, 77. That is our best show ever. That is the best show of any kind we've done, beating the previous best, which was the first ever episode. Somehow I really fluked into a good start with the 75, but that 77 increased our popularity in 38 regions, which is beautiful. Really consistent. Only one sort of lower thing, and I think for everything else I've written my own angles, whereas that one I used like a preset one, and I think maybe that had something to do with it. So from now on I'm just going to write all my own angles, because it doesn't really take any more effort or time. I don't really know why I didn't do it for that one, to be honest. Overall, a great show, and let's hope that we beat NXT and maybe even beat Ring of Honor for the first time. Let's go back to the home screen and see how we got on. Okay, so here we are. Let's have a quick look at the articles. Tessa Blanchard has had media success. Nick Jackson wows fans. Renee Young is going on maternity leave, which means that Jon Moxley is going to be a dad. How nice. Bo Dallas getting an extension. I'd actually love to sign Bo Dallas. I think his NXT run was so good. Bo leave and all that. It was beautiful, and he deserves better than what he got. So let's see NXT 76. They also had a blinder. But we still beat them by 1. They got a 2.44 TV rating. That is a good. Damn, that is a real good rating. But we still beat them. And let's see, Ring of Honor got 79. Still can't beat Ring of Honor, but that's okay. Let's have a look at our emails. We had a 2.36. And what did they have again? They had a 2.44. Last time we were 0.3 down, so that is a lot closer. That is a big jump up from last time. That's like a 0.3 above them, I think. Above last week even, which is really good. Tully Blanchard has an opinion. Joey Janela just doesn't get it, in my opinion. The kid can probably be cut loose. All right, Tully. All right. That's a bit rude. To Joey. I think that's everything. We are well now on our way towards All Out. Just now 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks of build before All Out. And I'm excited for possibly the biggest pay-per-view of the year. Maybe. I don't know. They're all big. There's only 4 of them. They're all big. Or 5 with Fighter Fest. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, drop a thumbs up, drop a comment, drop a subscribe, drop all that YouTube stuff. Tell a friend. Tell people on your Twitter. Tell people on Reddit. Do whatever you want, as long as you tell people. And I hope that you are doing okay, everyone watching. I hope everything is good in your life. And I hope... I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. But yeah, thank you all for watching. And I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.